Hey, what's up, guys? I got another video here, and today we have Camden, our marketing professional here in the office. So this is really geared towards helping you guys understand why marketing is important and why possibly even hiring your own marketing person into your agency is, extremely beneficial. So let's dive into it. So Camden, first off, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Camden, really just want to try to bring people as much value to understand what you do, why you're in the position you're in, and how they can possibly help. So let us know kind of what are some of the roles that you handle and, on a day-to-day and like as a, marketing manager.
Right.
You can take it.
So I'm the marketing manager here at Adelfia, and some of the main things I do, stay on top of posting on social media. We're working on a branding guide right now. We do a lot of kind of external communication, like trying to get reviews and whatnot, like for online Google reviews, like testimonial kind of things. Some sort of graphic design, like designing posts and thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. Do a lot of strategy, looking at analytics, putting together kind of like presentations for the audiences we reach and kind of basing our content off of that, and kind of just new things here and there.
Yeah, for sure. That's all good stuff. So just so everybody kind of gets the idea, like this isn't a not traditional role, honestly, like at least from what I see in other agencies. Most people, just so you know, honestly, Camden, like people don't first hire like a marketing person in their agency. Like first thing they want to do is hire a service or a salesperson, and we're a little bit out the box. We're out of the box a little bit. So the reason for that, and I think the reason we're doing what we're doing is because the world's changing. We're not in the especially in the last couple of years with COVID and the way everything's transforming, like the way people interact in business is like Zoom. Now older people like 50s, 60s, like they are forced to use Zoom and forced to use technology. So stuff's changing. And I think agents out there, so if you're not using social media and you're not using video and you're not using these different platforms and possibly looking at getting somebody like Camden on your team that can help exposure, because attention is the key, then you're missing the boat on something serious, because the digital presence and digital world is the way to get more exposure. And without exposure, without attention, people don't know who you are. You'll never get an opportunity to make a sale. So I wrote this down. This is a statistic, and it's something that I understood early on, Camden. So this is partly why this all is happening. But studies show that after 7 times of seeing somebody on video, like face to face, on video, the human brain starts to process that interaction as if they've met you in person. So what's happening there is like they're building rapport at scale. So hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, are watching this video, and if not, possibly years from now, they could be watching this video. They're gonna feel as if they've met you in person or met me in person, which we never have. But the point is, it's very, very difficult to quantify and qualify the ROI of video, because you post on social media, you feel like you're wasting your time. A lot of times,
in a way.
Yeah, it almost feels like sometimes we're just wasting time, like doing these like what we do, like get to know the team little videos. So do you want to talk about what we do there with the get to know the team?
Yeah. So every week, we try to do it once a week. We'll take a video of our team. Each person just answers kind of like a random funny little question. It doesn't always have to do with insurance or anything at all. But we'll just post it on the Instagram story and just hashtag and make it all cute, and just kind of to get the face out there. And sometimes it may kind of seem like pointless in a way, like nobody cares what our favorite restaurant is or whatever. But in a way, it's just getting the repeated 7 times, getting to know someone and just being out there.
Yeah. So when for example, somebody hears that Camden likes to go to Whole Foods, and she loves to go to the beach, and they just see that quick little video on there, and they see it seems like nonsense. Even at a point, our team was like, Chris, like, is that really worth our time? Are we wasting our time? And I was like, guys, like, it's too hard to quantify or qualify, like I said, the ROI of these things. But then when, Mike sees our story and he's like, hey, I love Whole Foods too. Now I just built some weird like rapport with Camden that we can't understand. Then a month later, he's thinking about his car insurance that's coming up for renewal that's expensive. And then he's like, oh yeah, that girl from Adelfia that likes Whole Foods, I should just call them.
Right.
And it's like, you can't ever predict that kind of stuff. But little by little with and this is the key as well, consistency. And like, you don't just do this for a month. You don't just do this for 2 months. You don't do it for 6 months. You do it for years, and you keep building. That's branding and marketing. So anyways, that's enough selling you guys on the idea of video and why you should use it for your agency and have a digital presence. But how do you balance all those things, Camden? Like, what do you do as far as like, because there's a lot of different roles and stuff you're doing. So how do you balance them all?
Yeah, so I know we've talked about this before, but I still use Trello, which is like the organization system that we use. Just writing down pretty much everything. Chris and I usually meet at the beginning of the workday and kind of lay out everything that we think it needs to get done, like this week, this day, just kind of like around this time. And I'll write it all down and kind of in my head almost prioritize, and we'll usually talk about that too and just figure out like what's the most important. And usually for us it's just getting like the exposure. So a lot of the times it's the YouTube videos and the posts and the LinkedIn and the TikTok we're doing now. So that's usually what comes first, but we still list out all the other things that need to get done, and we just stay organized and try to figure out like what needs to come first. And usually like throughout the week everything does end up getting done, and if not, then we just move it on to next week.
Yeah.
But just prioritizing and figuring out like what needs to come first and what can come last.
Right. I think I said this to you before, Camden. You're a naturally organized person, so I think that's just it's an important part. But using Trello is a good tool that we use even within other roles like sales and tasks for servicing. It's just a board where you can use and manage tasks. So highly recommend checking out Trello. Camden, what advice would you give to someone that's like day one, saying like taking over your role or like you're training them? What would you say to them? Or like, sorry, this little mic is ridiculous.
So I think setting goals is extremely important. Go watch the setting goals video. But starting with a short-term and a long-term goal is probably the best thing to do, because like I listed off all the things that we've been working on, like we didn't start with all of those. We started small and kind of built from there. So like your very first day, you can't jump right into it with all of these like 10 different things that you're trying to manage and post and analyze all at once. So like kind of figuring out like where do you want to start. Like for us, we started with Instagram and like Facebook, and just kind of I was still learning like what the mission was and like what we were trying to put out there. So like just starting small, but then also still setting like those long-term goals, like where do we want to be in a year, like what do we want to have out there. I think that's the most important, and just knowing like where to start and then slowly growing from there, not diving into everything all at once, because then things are going to get lost, like they won't get finished, because a lot of these things take more than one work day or one week even. So just like making sure you start small and then slowly adding on from there so that you can really keep track of everything and start to grow.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. I think even with me, like when I was first doing this all on my own, so a lot of people probably are watching this are going to do this on their own. Right. So you're talking to people that like they're not going to hire someone yet, and they're probably just going to want to do it by themselves. So that's a great way to, start small. Like even if you're like, let's say I'm going to just do social media, don't be like, I'm going to use Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, like pick one. Just be like, I'm going to get really good at LinkedIn, and I'm going to start posting consistently on LinkedIn every single week, once a week. Like start small and then just kind of build on top of that, and little by little. So that's a good point. Now that we have the brand guide, like now we're kind of putting together like a real vision of the future, and like, so it's a building process. So I highly agree with everything you said, Camden. Last question for you. What motivates you to do a great job in your role?
So Chris and I have talked about this recently, just because I know like we're in a growth stage. So just kind of knowing that I want to be a part of something that's able to grow, and kind of seeing like how important some of this marketing stuff is for that growth, and knowing like with the brand guide he just mentioned, like as soon as the business starts booming, like we're going to need to have like set in stone like brand identity things, and like logos, and everything needs to be like really consistent like we talked about. So just knowing that how important this stuff is for the business as a whole, like even though it may not seem like it kind of on the front end of things, just knowing that like I get to be a part of it, and I'm still in college learning, and like this is just good experience for me, and I've learned a lot. So just being able to keep that up and grow and be a part of something is kind of my motivating factor, and I think it's a lot of the other team members' motivating factor too. So
yep, that is great stuff. I think as like a leader, it's great to hear that, honestly. So it makes me happy because I have my own vision, and like I try to show that to everyone else, and at the end of the day, like as a unified team, the better Camden does at her job, the more opportunities we're going to have on the sales side, and then the servicing, and the better, as one ship. I like to say this too, it's like as the water kind of rises, all of the ships go together. So it's not like you're doing all this hard work and this is what you really need to get your employees to understand. Hopefully this is your real intention. I'm just saying this because this is my intention, but as the business grows and everybody does a better and better job, more opportunities come, more money comes flowing into the business, which in turn will pay everyone else more money too, and help their families and their friends, and then it'll just create a better experience for their lives and their future families, whatever it might be. So that's my feelings towards it, and I'm glad you feel that way. So thank you, Camden. But I think we'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully that was brought some value to anybody out there considering bringing on a marketing person. I know it's not the ordinary thing, and most people don't always just go for hiring a marketing person, especially this early on. Like people have like doubted this position for me. They've been like, you should really just look at hiring more service or more sales people like before you start doing. I'm like, completely disagree. We are a marketing agency that happens to do insurance too. Like that's the way I look at stuff, because without this is the world now, guys. So get on board. Find someone like Camden.
Make some videos.
Yeah, video. Get uncomfortable, and if you can't do video, go on, start writing text. Do audio, do just a photo, like whatever makes you feel most comfortable, but be active and proactive on the social media game. And that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys
at the top.
Peace.